Hello, my boon companions. It's me, Nikki, and today I'm here to talk about the books I've read in January. This is my fourth attempt because something's happening with my camera. Hopefully, I fixed it. If not, I'll have attempt 5. Anyway, books I read in January. To start with, these first two were not ones I planned on reading. Nancy Drew 134 and 135. These are for younger kids, probably, but they're still good. They're fun Nancy Drew mystery. I've read them because it's Nancy's 90th anniversary, I think, and they made a comic where they killed her off, and the Hardy Boys have to solve her murder. So that's interesting. She's probably not really dead, so spoiler, twist. But yeah, so I read them and I wrote reviews saying that these were better because Nancy wasn't dead. Because they are. Like, if I wanted to read a Hardy Boys comic, I would read a Hardy Boys comic. Not a Hardy Boys solve Nancy's murder comic, you know? Anyway, that's my rant about that. So yeah, they're pretty good. You know, typical Nancy Drew mystery. Everything wraps up nice and neatly. Nobody dies. Like kidnapping, threats, but you know, nothing serious. I have some of the original hardbacks. I think there was 90-ish of them, and then the original author died or just stopped writing them. And the publisher had other people, ghostwriters, write them under the name. And I think the originals were better than these paperbacks. But they're still fine. They're still a good read. Caught me up on my Goodreads reading challenge anyway. The next book is Skullface bookseller Honda-san, written by Honda. And it did take me a minute to realize that the author is Honda-san, and he's writing about when he used to be a bookseller. Because I never saw the author up here. I was just like, oh, that looks like a fun manga, and it is. So I love all the characters. I like that they all have different faces. All his co-workers have different masks. It's on this page. I don't know if they have a number. They don't. But he's got, you know, there's Honda, there's Paper Mask, there's Gas Mask, there's Fox. So yeah, I like the manga. It's cute, it's funny, it's interesting because obviously I'm used to a different way of books, shops than in Japan, so I liked learning about it. And I would read the rest, because this is the first in a series. Let's see. Next, we have this one. Hangman Blind by Cassandra Clark. It is a medieval murder mystery set in 1382. I think it's Richard the Second. I think. The text looks smaller than I remember. That's not important. But it is about the Abbess Hildegard, who wants to make like a little convent of her own, and she's facing, obviously, opposition from, I think he's an abbot, who's just as smart as she is, and yeah, she just wants a little plot of land so her and some women can just do their thing and not have anybody boss them around except God. That's essentially what she wants, and she ends up running into, well, I think she means to go there, but it's an old, because she was married and her husband died in France, I think, and her kids are all grown. So she became a nun, and she goes and she meets some old friends. Ulf, I think, is one of them, and Roger. And yes, Roger, and he's the lord of the manor and all that stuff, and mystery happens and murder happens, and it's all connected, and I loved it. I loved it. I'd definitely read it again. And one of the best things is everybody who knows Hildegard already knows that she's like good with medicine, so, and she's a nun, so she gets a lot of respect sometimes. But yeah, there is, it's in the very beginning, she finds a bunch of dead bodies. I don't remember them being described in detail, but if you don't really like reading about dead bodies. Oh, there also is attempted rape on Hildegard herself. Nearish the middle type of thing. I can't remember. Or maybe near the beginning. But, so if that makes you uncomfortable, but you still want to read it, you can probably just skim over that stuff, because it's only important because Hildegard doesn't know the men, but she remembers what they were wearing, because they have to wear the coat of arms and the colors of their lord, and then there's one guy who isn't wearing anything, and that's why he stands out to her. But other than that, I think it's good. I mean, it's the first one for me that I remember where there is an attempted rape on a woman. So, you know, that's pretty good, I guess. Better than a lot of television. I don't know where to put any of these. Okay, there we go. Next we have Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus. This is about two twins, obviously. Ellery and, oh god, what is her brother's name? Ezra. They're 16, 17, and their mother, who is a actress who had like one big part probably in like the 80s, and that's all she's remembered for, and she's never really done anything else. She has I think it's drinking, might be some drugs as well, and she has to go to rehab, and they go to meet their grandmother, who they've never met before. They don't know who their father is, and their mother also had a twin who tragically died when they were 18, I believe. Oh, 17. Sorry. And then 5 years before they show up, a homecoming queen was killed. So it's not a great town so far. And then basically, like, the first to second chapter in, they find another dead body. And you're just like, oh shit. And yeah, they make new friends. Ellery is more quiet. Ezra's more outgoing. He's gay. He has a boyfriend. They meet Malcolm and his friend, and they solve a mystery because Malcolm's brother was thought to have killed the homecoming queen 5 years ago, so everybody thinks Malcolm's a shithead. And then stuff happens. The homecoming is ruined again. People keep threatening him. They keep threatening Ellery. And then, you know, does somebody else die? I can't remember. But I do remember the ending was amazing. The end line was fantastic. And I don't know if I want a sequel to this or not, because it's so good contained on its own. Yes. This was very, very good. I enjoyed it just as much as One of Us is Lying. I thought maybe, for me personally, it started out a little slow because they had to sort of build up to everything, but then once it got going, and I could not put it down. So I recommend this one. Next, we have another Karen McManus book. One of Us is Next, the sequel to One of Us is Lying. It is about Maeve, Bronwyn's sister, Phoebe, and Knox. Those are two new characters. Knox is Maeve's ex-boyfriend, but they're still best friends. And then Phoebe, they get to know because of a new app called Truth or Dare. And Phoebe does not take the bait, and she gets a truth told. And it's pretty bad. It's pretty devastating for her and her family, and her sister specifically. And then it just sort of spirals. Everybody's taking the dares until tragically it goes wrong, and everybody's like, oh shit, this isn't a joke anymore, this isn't a game. Yeah, I really liked it. They're called the Bayview 4 from the first book are in here. They're more supporting characters. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good sequel. I thought it was interesting. I thought the mystery was good. I didn't see who the killer was. Well, the killer. The person who made the app that got a kid killed. So I guess he's a killer. And, you know, like her other books, One of Us is Lying and Two Can Keep a Secret. And it's also sort of like other TV shows I watch where they'll mention something, like A happened, whatever, like 5 hours from here, and then B happens in your central location, and then they somehow tie together. So it does all tie together in the end, and again, the ending was so good. That last chapter, chef's kiss, it was brilliant. I don't know if there will be a sequel to this, but I do love this world that they're in, and I do love the characters, and if there is a sequel, it will be interesting to see what happens. Ooh, books are tilting over there. And finally, we have The Serpent's Tail by Ariana Franklin. This is the sequel to The Mistress of the Art of Death, and it is set during Henry II's reign. It is after Thomas Becket has been killed, but it is before, I believe, his first son has died. So him and Eleanor are not speaking. I believe he has Eleanor locked up in France somewhere. And then, and this happened in real life, Henry's mistress, Rosamund, dies. And everybody thinks it's Queen Eleanor. So it is up to Adela, your mistress of the Art of Death, and her company, Mansour, the old lady, Glitha, I believe that's how you say it, and her dog, to find out what happened. And it's a trial and tribulation because they get stuck. It's friggin' winter, first of all, so, and it's the whatever year it is at Henry II, 12th century, so it's not like they can get anywhere fast anyway. And then it's cold and snowy, so they're even getting slowed down even more. And then they have to cross a bridge to get to a convent that will help them because it's close to where Rosamund was kept. And then on the way, they find a dead body. and a lame horse. And there is animal cruelty in this. It happens in the very beginning. Someone kills a cat for devilry is the only thing I can think of. And they do have to put the horse down. They're not shown explicitly in detail. There's also Rosamund's dead body, and there is another murder as well, and she is hung. So if you don't like any of those things, probably best not to read this, or just sort of skipped over it. Rosamund's body is her maid. She's in a tower, Rosamund, and her loving old crone of a maid will not give her body up. And so it's cold, and she's kept her in Rosamund's room, and she's sort of like rigor mortis in place. And then there's a scene describing the body heating up. And so yeah, if that's not your scene, probably best to skip it. Otherwise, it's a very good book. It has got lots of historical characters. Oh, there is rape in this one as well. A young girl is being forced to marry an old man, and he takes her forcefully. So he's obviously raped her. I think that's the only time. And there is some surgery. Adela does some surgery as well. But I don't think that's too graphic. Not as graphic as Rosamund's body. But I did like it. I love the mystery. I love it. I just love it. I love this series. I loved all the characters. I was sort of disappointed with Eleanor. In the beginning, I don't know if she would have really done that, so I wasn't thrilled with how she was portrayed, because I like Eleanor of Aquitaine, and I've read lots of her biographies, as you know, so I don't know if she would have acted like she did. But then by the time she did use her queenly power, it was sort of too late for that young woman. But yeah, I thought it was a really good book. Lots of twists and turns you did not see coming. And I cannot wait to read the third one, which will have to be in a while, because I have a lot of books over here to read. So, that is what I read in January. Yay, go me. I was very proud of myself for reading all these books. I really made a dent on the Magical Readathon, because all of these books, I think, except for One of Us is next, and the two Nancy Drews. So go me. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye.